Hello, my name is Dan Harmon. I am the Texas Instruments USB Product Marketing Manager. I am here today to talk about our TUSB3410 USB full speed to serial bridge device. I'll show you the basic steps and appropriate reference documents needed for you to take your product to production. This is achieved by using the controller in our Windows Virtual COM Port software solution, referred to moving forward as our VCP solution. The first step is determining which firmware load option, whether in an attached I2C EEPROM or downloaded over USB from the host, will be best for your implementation. There are 3 key references to help guide this decision. These documents can be found in the TUSB3410 product folder on the TI homepage. The first is the TUSB3410 data manual, specifically section 3.2 of this document. The second is the section 2 from VIDs, PIDs, and firmware, design decisions, and app note. Finally, and this document is the most critical reference for VCP applications, is section 3.2 of the USB serial applications using TUSB3410 VCP software application note. The next step is generating the file that you will use to program the EEPROM with your customized information. You will need to download and install the TUSB3410 USB I2C header generator utility for VCP applications. You can find this utility in the TUSB3410 product folder by following the Tools and Software Navigation link. All of the tools and utilities I am referring to today are found in this section of the TUSB3410 product folder. After downloading, you will need to run the setup.exe and follow the on-screen directions. If you just accept the defaults, the files will be installed on your local drive under Program Files, Texas Instruments, I2C header generator utility for VCP apps. If you want it installed in a different location, that's not a problem. You just need to remember where you installed the files. After you install the utility, you will choose a configuration file to modify based on the firmware location decision you made previously. Here you can see the options we have available. For the purposes of this training, I am choosing the option of downloading the firmware from the host PC and including serialization. You can use any standard text editing tool with this file. The areas that need to be modified are pointed out via the commentary at the end of each line. The areas are the vid/PID, the manufacturer string, the product string descriptor, and the serial number. Assuming you are enabling serialization, which is highly recommended. If you are including the firmware in EEPROM, then you need to make a change to call out the proper I51 file as well. Once the config file has been customized with your desired information, proceed to use the header generator utility by reading the Header Gen User's Guide document located in the same location. Once the bin file has been generated, proceed to burn it in an I2C EEPROM. If you do not have a standalone EEPROM burner, you can use our provided EEPROM burner applications. Next, you need to download the latest VCP driver and run setup.exe to do the initial install. This does not actually install the driver for use, but rather places the files on your computer for customization prior to the actual installation. If the firmware will be loaded from the EEPROM, then you need to delete the I51 file from this directory. Next, you will need to customize the driver's INF using the same information, vid, PID, and description strings you placed in the config file during the EEPROM file generation step. The INF file is just a text file, so again, any text editor will work fine. For more information, see section 3.6 of the VCP implementation app note. If the firmware will be in the EEPROM, you will also need to customize the INF to comment out, with a semicolon at the beginning of the line, any I51 occurrence. If the firmware is to be installed from the host PC, then this step can be omitted. Note that if your downloaded I51 file has a different name than our default, then you need to modify this in the INF as well. Now proceed to do the real installation of the VCP software. To enable this to work for your customers, you will need to repackage the installer with all the customized files to meet your software distribution plans. See section 3.7 of the VCP implementation app note for more information on this topic. In addition, since the INF file has been modified, then the digital signature that ships with our test development distribution will have been invalidated. If you desire to ship with a digitally signed driver, you will need to work through the Microsoft WCL process, and we can grant you reseller rights. Thank you for watching.